but
yeah, it's okay. So here I am with Alex, and unfortunately Frankie has gone MIA. You know what MIA stands for? Missing in action. Frankie, hope everything's going well. So we just got going, and we're talking about what to do with the 390 Ramage Road property in Rockland, which is GetSpace's newest acquisition. So we did get, as you and Frankie saw earlier today, we did get confirmation by Maddie Benanger from who's the general manager of development at the city of Rockland. No appeals, so we're good to go. And so my understanding, Alex, is that you and Frankie have applied for a culvert permit, right?
the culvert permit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes.
And do you know exactly where it's going?
Well, we have to measure it out, but yes.
Yeah, you can't put that in the wrong place, because once you start your driveway, so a few things have to happen. All right. So number one, hopefully your survey crew will locate that culvert for you, because you know they've got the plan, they're doing the survey anyway. They should locate the culvert, so you put it in the right place. You don't want it even a meter out of whack. Okay, you want it centered properly. So get your surveyor to do that. So you put your culvert in, and then what I was hoping you could do is you could work with your stormwater engineer. That's Lascelles, right? Lascelles?
Yes, Lascelles is who I have been in contact with.
Yep.
Again, they're just waiting for the survey to be completed. That's when they told me like that's the direction.
I get that.
You know,
so I get that. So what I was hoping is you get your culvert permit, your surveyor locates the culvert for you. Okay, this is where it goes. And then what I would want is the surveyor to lay out the first 10 yards for you. That's only going to be about 10 yards, could be anywhere from 1 or 2 acres to as much as 3, depending on the size of the yards, right? And you've already done the design for the first 10, right?
Well, I designed the layout based on the bigger yards, and I kind of mixed up some smaller ones.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to fine tune it. I was just waiting to see exactly if they was this a go, and there was gonna be no changes before I started really playing on it to get it set in stone. But it's gonna take me no time to design that. Like I already have 2 or 3 layouts that I'm working with.
Let's just go through it again one more time. So one of the things, what you should be on site with the survey crew and with somebody from the south. With here's the culvert and here are the first 10 yards. And an engineer should be able to tell you by just walking the site that we can probably get the grades right to within an inch or maybe a couple of centimeters for the first 10 yards. He'll say, look, it has to be sloped here, it has to be sloped there. This is kind of what, so if you make a mistake, you've made a mistake of an inch or 2 on you know the first 10 yards, because as we've talked about, getting the first 10 yards in this year and getting the income from that is really important to you.
Oh yeah, believe me. Like it's even like we ordered some chain link fencing for another property I have out in Cornwall. That my Cornwall location.
Yep.
We're going to be doing some yards there as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and like what's great about that property in particular is that it's already like 17 acres industrial, and about 8 acres in the back of the property are already stoned, and it's like maybe 30 inches of like granule B. Is that's a thicker one, eh? A is
those are bigger pieces, yeah. So granular B is like that, and then Gabion and riprap are bigger. So riprap is very sharp and pointy. Gabion is very round. B is about that size, and A is about that size.
That's right. Yes. So right now, and then we just got a load of for 1 acre of GA, just like A was like 22,000.
It's not. So, it's expensive. I know. I got a price for another site I'm working on, over 30,000 an acre for B and A. B and A, closer to 40,000 an acre, spread, mind you, and compacted, but still, it's expensive. You know, so 3 acres is going to be 120,000 bucks.
Yeah, so we have that one, like we're going to build 3 or 4 yards there to test it out, to see the, you know, how that works, but like I'll have the fencing for that in 2 weeks, so we'll actually be doing that very soon.
But what I'd like
But
you to do for Rockland is
Yep.
design 10 yards right next to the culvert and get
Yeah.
your engineer from Lascelles. I really like this Lascelles guys. They have ideas and they're not afraid to, like, I'm not qualified as a PN anymore, but I can certainly eyeball the grades pretty well. And if you have a good dozer operator, he can usually help you with the grading so that it makes sure it drains properly and it doesn't, cause a flood on your neighbor's property, which I'm sure it won't.
So does Lascelles have like equipment too, or they're just like engineers?
No,
And
they're engineers,
okay,
they drive computers.
yeah,
So they're city boys, they're Joe College types, but they are practical guys. I like them. They're
Yep.
really good, and they should be able to come on the site with your surveyor and say, look, here's where our culvert goes. Here are our first 10 yards. I need to get these in. I'm not waiting 6 months for the city to get around to look at our stormwater management plan. I'm not doing that because you need the revenue. Let me show you just for a moment. I'll share my screen with you. And, this is something I've been working on with another client of mine in the west end of Ottawa. Yeah, on March Road. And this is, maybe I showed this to you already, Alex, I don't remember. But their first phase, because they're going to do contractor yards on this March Road site, their first phase will have 3 big yards. Each of them is 50 feet wide. Sorry, no. 100 feet wide by 200 feet deep. So that's a half an acre there.
Yep.
So there's 3 of them there. And then on the other side, there's 6 small yards, which are going to be 50 feet by 100 feet. Your brother said that his best seller is 50 by 50, right?
Yeah. He said 40 by 50, 50 by 50. Yeah.
That's what he said. So these ones here are bigger than they probably should be, but just given that this is a 28-acre site, we decided to go with a slightly bigger yards. All right. Well, in fact, they are bigger. They're 5,000 square feet each. You want to hear something interesting?
Yeah.
And this is relevant to you as well, and you and Frankie. I've had quite a number of tiny house owners, people who own those little tiny houses, the ones on wheels, asked if they could park their tiny houses on this site.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
And I said yes. And I didn't ask them if they plan to live in them. I'm going to do a parking agreement with them. And if they live in them, I'm going to look the other way. I'm not going to ask, but I'm quite positive they will be living in them. And
whereabouts? Where are you doing that at your Canada property?
No, right here.
Oh, okay.
So each one of these yards is 5,000 square feet. And I'm just speaking for myself. Do you really care, Alex, or do I care if it has a loader, a dozer, a C-can there, or it has a tiny home? Do you care?
Nope.
Me neither, because these people don't have any places to go. And so I wanted to show you, I've already done one. This is at the Barn Dominion. I don't know if you can see it on your screen here. Can you see the barn here?
Yeah.
Remember, that's where I have all the workshops.
Well, this looks like oh yeah, I can see in the back. Yep.
Yeah, sorry, it doesn't show very well here, but it's right here. There's the Barn Dominion. And I've got, I think, 10 workshops in there, right? And they're all full except for one. We just had a guy move out, so we've got one that's vacant. But I'm sure we'll fill that up. So I got these people here, and then this is a very nice couple, George Williams and Brett Peters, his wife, and they said, "Can we park a tiny home on your site?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I didn't ask if they're living there, but they're there a lot, and I don't care. And the other thing it does for me is it gives me somebody on site 24/7, 365, just to keep an eye on the place.
Yeah, that's true.
So they pay me to be my security. Okay. Now these guys are paying $500 a month for their parking spot.
Nice.
And probably for a contractor, I probably get $500. So I get the same whether I give it to a tiny house guy or I give it to a contractor. And I asked them, do you mind if there's some contractors in the area? No, they don't care. They just need a place to park. And a 5,000 square foot lot is quite a big lot if you think about it.
Oh yeah.
It'll be big enough if they wanted to grow tomatoes, they could. They could have a a barbecue and a ping pong table outside and a bunch of other stuff. So I think it's I really like this model. So out of these 6 sites over here, 3 or 4 of them are likely to go to the tiny house guys.
Wow.
Yeah, and if it's successful, they can, one tiny house operator knows all the other tiny house operators, if you know what I mean.
There's probably a little group for them for sure.
Oh, for sure. There's like Facebook groups of like hundreds of these people, and they're all looking for a place. So I wanted to mention to you and Frankie, I'm not saying that you should do it, but I'm all in favor of it personally.
Yeah, man. Because to be honest, yeah, if you dedicated one area to it and you almost, one giant yard for them.
Yeah,
and
that's a really good idea.
Yeah, put some amenities for them and stuff like that. They'd be happy,
that's
I think.
a really good idea. So I actually have the group coming on, like I'm doing a Zoom meetup with these folks there, and they're so nice, and think about it, if they pay $500 or $600 a month, and the one that I just showed you, that trailer is 55 feet long. It's huge. I mean, George told me it was tiny, and then he shows up with this thing that is like 55 feet long. I said, oh man, that's not tiny, George. He said, well, I did mention that it was 55 feet long. I said, you probably did, and I forgot. I didn't care. I mean, I got lots of room up there. So, I mean, I got 4 acres, and maybe the total occupied space is, out of the 4 acres, is maybe half an acre or 3/4 of an acre. So I said, I don't care. Just park it there and enjoy it. And, we've got a pond up there, et cetera.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that.
I was going to ask you as well, if, because you have a lot of water on this site.
Oh, yeah.
So I was going to also ask you to ask Lascelles if you could find a stormwater pond somewhere, and that's where, if you're interested, you could park the tiny homes around that. That'd be quite nice. Yeah,
in the back of the property, it's definitely it's pretty swampy.
Well, I mean, you're going to have a stormwater pond anyway, right? So you can excavate it. You know how many ponds I've dug over the years, right? You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
Dozens of them, and you create your own waterfront. So I really like this model, and if you find one tiny house operator like George and Brett, who I really like, I have a good relationship with them. They cut the grass for me. It's their grass too, but they cut the grass for me. They're my site superintendent, and they're unpaid. They just they look after the place like it's their own, and they can live. George works for Palmerlow Construction, so he makes a good living. And Brett works for a jewelry store and makes a decent wage. So you know what I'm getting at.
Oh, they're saving some money.
So I mean, if you could live for $500 or $600 a month, that's not very expensive.
Oh yeah, you can save a lot of money, that's for sure.
So do you know the motto of the tiny house movement?
No.
Less house, more life.
Less house, more money.
Less house, more life.
More life, yeah, that too.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, let's say, you're a young George, and you're making $85,000 a year, and your wife's making $55,000. So you have $150,000 or $140,000 a year in family income, and your rent is $500. And they built that tiny house, which I call Big Bertha, for 55 grand. So they have no mortgage. They live for $500 a month.
Wow, they're winning.
They're winning, and they probably have a better lifestyle than you and me.
I was just thinking that because shit, I gotta go home. I have so much stuff to do always at my house. Oh man. I
mean, you always have a pile of stuff. Plus, you run a business. I mean, and it eats your life.
Yeah. That's like oh man, like this year's not bad. I actually have quite a few guys.
Yeah, I know you're doing better this year.
Yeah, and I created a better system, so like it's working good, But all it takes is one piece of that puzzle, like one guy to quit, throw a fit, and it all goes to shit.
And then guess what? You own it.
and then I have to jump into his position too. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get away from that. But yeah, definitely.
You're definitely doing better. You're definitely. Now, I think I sent you this form. I'm just going to share my screen again. Hang on, I'll get rid of this. So I want you to think about maybe putting one or two of these tiny homes, maybe a few more, maybe around the stormwater pond. By the way, on this site here, I'm going to dig a pond here. In fact, this is the site here, and I've got water here. It's very sandy soil. You dig down literally 12 inches, you hit the water table here. So I can definitely do a beautiful pond for these guys too. All right. Yep. So I wanted to make sure you have this form. I'm sure I sent it to you, which was the one that I've been using for contractor yards and storage, etc.
I do have that saved.
So I really think it's very, very important for you. And frankly, you guys are going to sleep easier if you could, lease 10 yards.
Oh, yeah.
So how are you planning to market this?
Well, I actually have a meeting tonight. I think he just texted me actually right now to reschedule our website guy, because we want to get like our logo. We want to get our logo kind of set in stone and then start advertising, kijiji, Facebook, get some Google going right away. And also we've been talking to a bunch of other contractors and stuff, just letting the word know that, we have location here and there. I wouldn't mind tapping into that marketplace for the small homes, so that would be a good idea.
Say that again?
I wouldn't mind like tapping into the small home marketplace.
That's a good idea. So listen, I'm going to do that Zoom meeting with these are really nice people. They're not business people, that, eh? Like they're kind of out there kind of people.
Yeah.
They're very, very nice, but they're not hard-nosed businessmen like you and me.
Yeah, they're living life, man.
Big pardon? Yeah, they're living life, and they sit around, they drink beer, they smoke weed, and they go to work though. I mean, and they earn a living, but they want an alternative lifestyle. They don't want a lot of debt. They don't want the banks to own them. They want some freedom. And if you're making 140 or 150,000 and you're only spending $500 a month on your occupancy costs, you can go to Colombia, you can go to Mexico, you can go to Costa Rica, and enjoy life, which is there's nothing wrong with that. I respect that. So so can you write this down, Alex? It's August 1st, which is a holiday Monday. I'm sorry, it's the only time I had, and it's a holiday Monday. And I've asked your brother Chris to come too, because I wanted him to understand what's possible. Okay, so you don't
August 1st.
August 1st at just for an hour, and I think we're starting at noon. And you don't mind if Chris is there, right?
No, of course not.
Okay, because I wanted him, because it's a new idea, and I thought, I do coach your brother from time to time as well, so I thought he should, and I'm gonna see if I can find the.
How's he doing? I talked to him here and there. He wants me to go help him out with some repairs at his long yards there. How's he doing out in the States? I don't really talk to him too much about business.
No, I understand that, because you got, but I mean, yeah, I really like your brother, as you know. I think he's a different sort of guy, and he doesn't have your business skills, but he has other things. So you can see can you see the chat box?
No. Tiny house town meetup. I can see that.
Okay, and I'm going to put the Zoom invite in there. Okay, hang on. You have to copy it out of the chat box, so you have to copy it.
Okay, where is it? Hold on, Bruce.
That's all right.
Chat.
It should be
okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Okay, so can you copy it out of the chat box and put it in your calendar? It's August 1st at noon for an hour, and you're going to meet these folks as well. And they're all plugged in, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. What time's it at, Bruce?
It's at noon on the 1st, just for an hour. I'm not going to keep, because it's a holiday, but it's the only time I could do it. So August 1st at noon, and I think you'll enjoy it. All right, and
I gotcha. locked in for that.
So you were able to copy it out of the chat box?
Yeah, I put in my schedule.
Okay, excellent. And certainly Frankie's welcome to come too, right?
Yeah.
I'll show you the logo that for this particular project that my daughter designed. Hang on, it's quite cute. I liked it. It took her like 10 minutes to do it, and she's an artist, and I'll show you what she did.
Yeah, we're working on something. I think the guy, our website guy, he doesn't see like our vision, but small yards contractor. Where's that for your property?
Well, that's for the March Road property.
Okay.
So
are you involved on that one, or is that the other guys?
So that's a long story. What do you think? But first, what do you think of the logo?
I like it. I saw it earlier.
Oh, you did? I showed it to you already?
No, but when you were showing me the
okay, so you spied on me.
I spy. I look.
Just teasing you. So the reason that we call it small yards is my client is Trevor Small. And unfortunately, about 2.5 months ago, he passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, just a wonderful man. He was well into his 80s, and he was about 6 foot tall and weighed less than 100 pounds. That's not good for a man, and he was ill, but he was a wonderful person. So before he passed away, Alex, he asked me to take care of his wife Marlon, like the fish Marlon, and I said I would. So what I did was I was developing small yards, because his last name is Small, right? For his widow Marlon, and she's in her 80s too. And she and her son and her daughters thought it was too risky. So I think they're going to sell the site on March Road, the 28 acres, for not very much money, about what you and Frankie paid, for your land, and which was an incredible deal, by the way, just incredible. And so I think I'm going to buy it with a group. I think so.
Nice.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm thinking about it because I told you, and I told Chris and I told Peter Hodowitz too. I'm kicking myself that I've helped Chris, become a multimillionaire, which is great, and other people in the States. I've got people in all over the States now doing this same model and doing very well. I'm saying to my wife, I told you this, what the hell? I work 60 hours a week and don't make very much money. I'm a coach, I make a bit of money, but not that much. And this is the only business, as you know, once you've set it up, that maybe you can work 5 or 10 hours a week and make, like Peter works 5 hours a week. You still there, Alex?
Yeah, sorry, I just got a message and I pressed it by accident. Sorry about that, Bruce.
No problem. Peter Hodowitz makes, he would admit it to anybody, works 5 hours a week and makes $25,000 a month,
I can't wait, man. Believe me, I can't wait to just put myself in gear here, because one thing that is kind of holding us back on Rockland is like right now, like we have funds. We have some funds. We just want to put in the right direction. But we're kind of like, it's not really holding us back, but we're weary about when we do sell that property for 300 grand. We want to put obviously the capital gains right in the bank and not touch that. But because Stephen Schwery got us in that fucked up clause, is the mortgage guys going to try to take the whole sale and put it towards the principal, or are they going to leave us with any money to play with?
So can you remind me, are you using Steve Sheppard as your lawyer?
Yeah, Stephen Sheppard is our lawyer. Yep. So, and even he said, remember, he said it's like, it's gray. It's really gray.
It's gray. So now that it looks like we're going to get this, well, we have the severance, and we're, Henri Cardinal is very, very committed to this. You know that, right? The buyer, he really wants that site.
Oh yeah, I know.
No, he got a good deal too. Like, I know that it was a good deal for you and Frankie, but because he could have bought the whole 21 acres himself. He didn't want to do that. You did it. And you and Frankie took all the risks. So he got a good deal too. He's paying less than $300,000 for a beautiful site on 17, So, he's very committed to it, and he doesn't want to be a rental serf for the rest of his life either.
Nope.
You're a slave to the landlord. He's fed up with that, and I don't blame him. So now that we have that, you should write to Steve Sheppard and ask him to ask the lawyer for, ask the mortgage company that we have the sale, it's coming down the road. Can we discuss what's going to be done with the proceeds? And what you might want to think about, you and Frankie, is offering them 50% to them and 50% to you. Something like
What
that.
if we just don't tell them that we sold it?
Oh, no, you can't do that. You need a partial discharge. Because he has a mortgage on the whole property, and you have to be able to deliver 3.5 acres with a clear title, which means no mortgage registered against it. So it's a good idea, but it won't work.
Okay.
You're the finance guy. Listen, I did mention this before you did this deal with Schwery, but he put you against the wall, and you had no time left, right?
Yep.
So it sucks, and that's on Stephen. But ask Stephen to reach out to the mortgage company and say, look, we have a sale coming, and we would like to divide the proceeds. It'd be about 300 grand, half to you guys to reduce. And the good news is you're not losing that money. You're paying down the debt by half, right? And the other 150,000 you can use. That's fair, and they'll probably accept that.
Yeah, that would be nice because, we want to just, like I said, we definitely need some yards up before winter comes. We want to get the name out. I want to get that property going is for sure. Like by next year, I'd love to have like at least 60% of that property developed minimum,
100%. But this year, I want you to do 10 yards. Don't, you are famous, you and Frankie are famous for buying really good property and then not doing enough with it.
Bruce, we're going.
We're going. Coach. I'm never going to let you live that down. So there you go. Now, Frankie did say that you were going to put a second mortgage on one of your properties. Was that on Moose Creek?
Yeah. So on Moose Creek again, because what we want to do is we've been talking to some people, and I think for the one building, we're going to try either 2 big workshops, like 2 big bays, or 3, or potentially do 2 big bays and then one in the front, maybe some workshops, and kind of see how that plays out.
Right.
Rent the garage out as a workshop, and then try to lease the house. And we're fixing up the barn as well.
Has the house been leased yet?
No, we haven't touched the lease on the house or anything.
So don't rent the workshop by itself. Rent the workshop with the house. That is a dynamite combination.
I remember you mentioned that. Yeah.
Well, at least try to do that. And the reason for that is, let's say I was an HVAC operator, heating, ventilation, air conditioning guy, and you put an ad on Kijiji that says, look, I've got it's a 3-bedroom house.
Yep.
I've got a 3-bedroom house, and that workshop, I mean, the garage is pretty big. How big is it?
The garage, it's around 25 by, it's got to be 25 by 25, I believe. Yeah,
so it's 500 or 600 square feet, so it's a good size for a workshop. And so you put in, I've got a house, a 3-bedroom house, and a 600 square foot workshop. You can have the workshop for $800 a month. You can have the house for $1,700 or $1,800 a month, or whatever you think is fair. The 2 together, it's a dynamite combination. For example, this morning I just had on one of my properties in Belleville, I just had a young woman ask on behalf of her client, who's an artist. He does murals, and he runs a school teaching people how to do mural art. And we have this beautiful old stables that we've got an apartment and a sort of an artisan space there, and the commute time is a connecting door, right? Okay. And he's a perfect client, right? He'll live in the 1-bedroom apartment, and he'll teach and do his art in the adjoining space. And he wants a 5-year lease. When did you last get a 5-year lease for an apartment? Ooh, you don't even hear about those, really. Right. So I told him, and I'm meeting with him, I think tomorrow afternoon on Zoom, unfortunately. And my wife is sick with COVID, by the way. What happened to the gentleman that came by and visited the property? Wasn't that one of your associates or somebody you knew, you said? Yes. That was Matt Woodworth and his wife, Michelle Woodworth. But with a young agent that I work with, and you know him, James McCune. And then Frankie said, no, we're keeping Moose Creek. So I told him he wanted to buy it.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's got the money too. But I
How
said,
much did he want to pay for it?
well, I told him he didn't make an offer because Frankie told me it was off the market. But I told him it's between 1.4 and 1.5 million.
If we got 1.5, I think we'd get let go of
Yeah,
Moose, to be
it
honest.
doesn't
But now
work
it's
like
too
that.
late.
Frankie told me, you know, we're not selling it, and which I'm all in favor for. I love that property, as you know. I think it's fantastic. But if you want to sell it, you and Frankie have to tell me we're going to sell it, and then you have to tell me we'll sell it for 1.45 million or whatever, and then I'll go back to the Woodworth family. But I'm not going to go back to them and say, hey, yeah, they'd sell it again. They're telling me, and then they come back to you and say, no, we changed our mind again.
He didn't even tell me about that, but whatever.
Well, you just have to let me know. That's all.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
I'll
one
talk
way
to
or
him.
the other. If you want 1.4 to 1.5 million for it, and you're willing to sign a listing, okay, because you know, you need to make a commitment that we're serious about selling it, because otherwise I'm wasting everybody's time.
No, 100%, 100%.
Okay, so let me know. I mean, James and I are good to go on that. I would prefer if you could keep it, but I understand sometimes if you can get the 1.4, 1.5 million that you want.
It's more like the partnership that we have, like currently with the, you know,
third partner, I know.
That's kind of the only thing that's a setback in like it's beautiful property, I think beautiful potential, but whatever. But anyways, like I'm ready to give it a shot.
I'm on the same wavelength as you. When you told me, you and Frankie both told me that it's a little problematic having Nick as a third partner. You know, there's a reason why threes don't work, right? I mean, it's a very bad number. You'd imagine if your wife says, hey, do you mind if I bring a boyfriend into the marriage?
Hell no.
I don't think that will work with you, Alex, and it certainly wouldn't work with me either. 3 is a terrible number, right? It never works. So, you know, you and Frankie have, I think, a good relationship, good business partnership, but obviously, you know, maybe not so much with Nick.
Yeah, but it's just, like I said, I wouldn't mind trying, you know, to see if we could get something going to make some income. If not, then yeah, definitely.
But don't wait for November, my friend. It's very hard. It's very hard to sell Moose Creek, whether it's to Matt and Michelle Woodworth or anybody else in November, December, January, February. I mean, fuck, Ottawa's the worst place to sell land at that time of the year. It's just terrible.
Do you mind me asking, what would they plan on doing with the property?
Exactly what you and I talked about. You know, you and I went through the property, the workshops, the bunkies and the gardens, you know, exactly what we were just talking about, the house with the workshop, the live work condition, all of that stuff. You know, I mean, that property has great potential, but you need to have, you know, come to Jesus meeting with yourself and with Frankie and Nick and decide, are we, what is it they say, cutting bait, or what's the expression?
Well, that's the thing. We like, the big dilemma really is that, like, Nick doesn't have any money to put forward to anything.
Yeah.
And right now, Frankie and I are carrying it, and we just feel like that's not fair. It's just simply not fair. Plus, we're already so much more involved with the finances in the property.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, let's get a loan, and that way we don't have to pay for nothing anymore.
Yeah.
And we'll build the business up. If the business doesn't work, then we dump the place, and that's it. We wash our hands.
But if you're going to start generating income, I'm all for that. That's never a bad idea. If you're going to put a second mortgage on it, that's of course up to you. So
I'm not a fan of that.
No, I understand. You do what you have to do, but you're either going to sell it now or you're going to sell it next spring. If you want to sell it now, you and Frankie and Nick have to make up your minds. Yes, we're going to sell it. We're going to put a list price on it, 1.45 million or whatever the number is. You come up with that and tell me about it. I'll get James to do the work and I'll do the selling.
Yep. No. Well, yeah. We had a conversation about it about a week or so ago, so we'll have to get back into that.
All right. So
sure.
I need some advice from you on something.
What's that, Bruce?
Okay. So I talked to DA McMillan this morning. You know, he's realtors helping us on this other transaction. And we have had a couple of leads on the other piece on the corner, but not enough. And we haven't had any offers. So I'm trying to think of something else that we can do to make that, because that corner piece is the best piece. there's got to be something that we should be doing as your salespeople to move that site. I'm not sure what else we should be doing, but there's something I'm missing.
It's so my other friends that are very good in real estate, and they buy tons of property. He's like, you have that property listed for a good price. So they said they're surprised it hasn't been sold yet. Also, when I was talking around to the neighbors and stuff, they were all under the assumption that a Myers dealership was going to be buying that property. So was there any contact between you guys and a Myers dealership?
That's a really good question. I don't think so, but because you reminded me that I do think that's a good point. I do think that a used car dealership there would be fantastic.
Yeah, 100%, especially a big Myers dealership. That'll bring lots of
yeah, that would be fantastic. Okay, so I'll follow up on that. I'll check with DA. That's very helpful. Thank you. Okay. All right, we dealt with that. Okay. Now, so there's one other thing that you can do. You're going to have some signage on site for GetSpace. You're going to do some kijiji ads, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because those things seem to work really well. The other thing is, maybe I already said this. Half my brain is still in BC, I think. The other thing is, I think you should do an on-site party.
An on-site what, sorry?
You should have a party on site.
To piss the neighbors off royally or what?
No, I don't mean like have a band and all the rest of that, but I think you should invite all the contractors that you know and some other people to come on site on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock and just, play cornhole. You know what cornhole is, right?
Yep.
Get a cornhole game and a horseshoe game, set up a few tables, give people low alcohol beer, and a few munchies, just, prospective tenants, because you need to find 10 tenants, right?
You're right. We should try to host a meeting or some. Yeah, once we get the place kind of leveled out and making it look a little bit more approachable.
Yeah. You want to have at least one yard set up.
Yeah.
So that they can see what it is that you're doing, and maybe more than 1 yard. But I think you should do it in August, because in September the weather can be a bit dodgy and October can be quite cold. So you do it on a Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and you have a little bit of music. You don't want to disturb your neighbors, but you invite. I'll do that on the March Road property if we go ahead with that. We'll have a party there, and of course on March Road we don't have any neighbors. The only neighbor we have is Ultramar. And there's never anybody there. They wouldn't care. It's just it's a depot. It's not a gas station or anything.
Okay.
So I mean, they're super nice guys. I know them all, and they couldn't care if we had a band on there playing acid rock music. They wouldn't care. But we'll invite them too. I mean, Friday at 3 o'clock they'll show up, especially if there's beer. So I think that, between kijiji, a little bit of signage, just go through your accounts payable and through your own network. And don't forget to invite me, because I'm coming.
Yeah, no, we definitely want to get it hit the ground running, and hopefully it's a success, because it'll be a very small milestone to a large milestone, but, it'll be a great step into the future, I should say.
Well, I mean, with no appeals, you and Frankie made 600 grand.
Yeah, we do like that. It does, like, that's amazing, but it's more about the business model.
No, I get that. Oh gosh, for sure it is. But 600,000 is still 600,000. It's a lot of fences you don't have to sell.
Oh fuck, man! I'd have to build fencing for 2.5 years probably.
Yeah, maybe a year and a half. But anyway, so that's good. So I'm going to ask DA McMillan to prepare a waiver, because you have a condition coming up on August 1st. You had to get this severance done by August 1st. And now that we have it.
No, it was September 1st.
No, it's August 1st, isn't it?
No, it's September 1st. It better not be August 1st.
Why?
I'm pretty sure it was September 1st.
Okay, maybe I screwed up.
We did talk about August, and we said just just because we'll put it to September because shit happens. I'm
Okay,
pretty sure,
all right. Let me just see.
because there's no way that survey is gonna be done, because
No, I get that. I'll just share my screen with you again. So it says, yeah, here's the condition. Maybe I got it wrong. This offer is conditional upon the buyer obtaining at the seller's expense a consent to sever the property, 3.5 acres. And it says by 8 p.m. on August 1st.
yeah. Okay,
So I think that's okay. I think you can waive that, I think. This is the condition here.
yeah,
I will check with Steve, okay?
okay.
You're gonna talk to Steve about the partial discharge, right?
Yep, I'm gonna mention that to him for sure.
Okay, so you write him an email on the partial discharge. I'll write him an email. I'll carbon copy you and Frankie and DA McMillan on this condition, because he's your lawyer. He'll know this inside out. He's very good. So I'll do that. The one thing though that we do need from you though is, have you priced out the cost of the driveway?
No, we haven't done that yet.
Because I need that between now and August 1st, because that's a buyer condition.
Okay, so we need the price of the
Of the driveway.
shared driveway, of the
Of
shared driveway.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah,
We need a price for that, and you need it in writing.
okay. Yeah, because Frankie, I think he was on top of that, because his friend actually owns a paving company, so I'll have to make sure I light a fire underneath his ass.
Yeah, so we'll need that. And you don't forget, you need it to have an allowance as well for the improvements to Ramage Road, because you're going to have to pay that part of it. Remember that?
Yeah, I understand that too. And so was that in the latest?
So that yes. So they're going to ask you for that, because once I give Henri Cardinal the estimate for the driveway, and if it doesn't include some allowance for improving Ramage Road, he will commit to paying 1/3 of the driveway, but you'll end up paying at least 2/3 of the other. So you want to make sure you've got the whole thing, because he's going to commit to paying 1/3 of it. That's part of his deal. Am I making any sense at all?
Yeah, no, I am. I understand everything you're saying.
So we have time. We've got another, 10 days or something like that, but I do need it in writing. So hang on, I got to go here. I'm going to stop sharing for a sec. And so we both got some work to do. Too bad that Frankie couldn't be on the call.
Yeah.
Well, something must have happened at work. Otherwise, he would be on the call. Hang on a second. Survey. Just bear with me for a minute. Oh, shoot. Sorry about this. Take another minute or two. Yeah, okay. So I think what we're talking about, Alex, is so you're going to have to pave and improve the road from here to here, just past this and along here. Right? You still there, Alex?
Oh. Driving mode all of a sudden. Safe driving mode.
Huh. Oh,
Okay,
well.
is that your microphone is unmuted? Sorry about that.
No problem. So you're going to want, you and Frankie need to give me an estimated cost for improving Ramage Road here where my cursor is and adding the driveway here.
So was that clarified as being paved or just like cleaned up?
This part is definitely going to be paved, and the entrance here is definitely going to be paved.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to pave the whole thing, but I think you should.
Yeah, I think it would be best too.
Because otherwise, listen, I've done this myself, you know, in Arizona and elsewhere where I have people. I mean, Chris has gotten away with, you know, a gravel road, which he's done. But you know, given the number of big trucks carrying loaders and dozers and semis going in and out here, if you don't pave it, you'll be sorry.
Yeah, I see Chris's place has ruts all the time, and
All the time. And so my take on, and don't forget, you're going to get, these guys are going to pay 2/3 of the cost. So you might as well do it, because otherwise you'll end up doing it sometime and you'll probably have to pay for it yourself. So I'd rather pay 1/3 of the paving cost than 100% of the paving cost.
Yeah.
So you need to get me in writing an estimate to improve this part of the road and do this driveway. And don't forget, even though it's not shown here, you need a hammerhead turn here. You're going to need a hammerhead. You remember the hammerhead?
Yeah, I remember that.
All right. So that's your job. So you're going to write to Steve Sheppard about the partial discharge.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, just I'm putting notes in my phone, and as I do it,
that's okay.
Every time.
I just want to make sure I'm not talking to the air. And
no.
So the other thing is, I'll talk to Steve on my end about the conditions, and I'll talk to Steve about that walkway which they nixed, right? They took it out. So what we're going to do on the walkway, you leave that with me. I'll take care of that. What we're going to do with this walkway, which we didn't get, is Henri Cardinal has agreed to give you a long-term 21-year less a day land lease on this parcel. So he's going to actually get this little piece here. So he gets more land, but he's going to give you a 21-year lease less a day at $2. So you can put you know, your sign up here.
Yeah. How much was it at $2?
$2 a year.
Ooh.
So I said, well, Alex and Frankie can afford that. They can manage. They'll buy you a cup of coffee. But you know, he's very nice man. It's easy to get along with. And like I said, he's very committed to the project. So that's all good. So I'll take care of that, but you have to do your thing too. And we can't leave that until the 2nd of August, because I'm pretty sure we have to give it to Henri, you know, so he can look at it and say that's reasonable. So let's say it costs, I don't know, $200,000 to do these road improvements. Maybe it's 300,000. He'll have to budget. If it's 200,000, he'll have to budget about $66,000. If it's 300,000, he has to budget 100 grand.
Yep.
But he needs to know that, and he's expecting that. He's expecting that.
But he's not really on the hook to for the road improvement from Ramage Road, though, is he?
He's on the hook as far as I'm concerned. It's subject to interpretation, but if he decides not to buy it, that's okay. We'll sell it to somebody else. I mean, there are people who want these lands. He's committed. He's going to buy it, and yes, he's committed to paying 1/3 of the cost of the access. Since the severance committee and the site plan is almost certainly, I mean, the site plan is almost 100% they're going to ask. And don't forget, we made and we agreed in public. I agreed on your behalf to improve Ramage Road, and that's why we had no appeals.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That was.
We had no absolutely appeals for two reasons. One, you and Frankie did a great job talking to the neighbors, and they said, well, these are nice young men. We'll go along with it. And I said on your behalf that yes, we'll improve Ramage Road. All right. So we made a public commitment, and he was there. You remember, he was on the call. Yep. So he knows that. So if he says, "Oh, I'm not paying for Ramage Road," well, fuck you very much. He's paying 1/3 of the cost of access, whatever that means. And don't forget, if we actually did get access from County Road 17, and they made us put in, you know, acceleration and deceleration lanes, that could be $500,000.
Yeah, that's too much. Yeah.
You know, and a signal like these days is ridiculously expensive, and another $500,000. Well, we don't want to spend $1 million on friggin' access. Nope. You know, if we have a $200,000 or $300,000 driveway, that's fine. All right. So
sweet.
We've dealt with that. I thought the $5,800 for the survey was an okay price, Alex.
Yeah, you said it was a decent price. I
think it is, because it's a pretty big piece of property. But did you get a price for the topos?
Yeah, so the topo was like 7,500.
7,500? That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
That's stupid. He says $5,800 for the survey and $7,500 for the topos.
Yeah.
That's too much.
I'll have to definitely pull it up again, but
So the
Yeah, I think-
topos should be much less, because the good news is there are no trees on this site, and you can just fly the drone. And I got a price for a topos on a property very similar to this, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was $4,000 plus or minus. Very
yeah,
similar.
because Frankie and we had that first topo done, or like survey kind of done with the drone.
Yep.
But because the land wasn't graded and stuff, there were so many unknown points. So we had to strip a lot of it to be able to get more detail into what's down there, right?
But I think $5,800 for the survey is very reasonable, but I think you should go back to them and say, look, I'm not paying more than $4,000 for the topos.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll have to reach out to him, because
yeah.
even me, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's pretty much my list of stuff that Frankie had, put on the agenda for us. Is there anything else, Alex, that you need to deal with, or we need to deal with today?
I think that's it, man. Just need to get going. Just get this done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So think about Moose Creek, whether you're keeping it or selling it. And if you're selling it, let's get going. And if you're keeping it, let's get going.
I hear you.
All right. We'll talk soon.
Okay, Bruce, take care, man.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.